Township for Thursday, February 15, 2018. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the public and the press on January 5, 2018. It was posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-7. Roll call. Councilmember Coombs.
Here.
I don't think the mics are on.
I'm sorry, here.
Councilmember
Mine
Kadesh.
wasn't.
Here.
Councilmember Van Tassel.
Here.
Councilmember Allberger.
Here.
Council President Murphy.
Here. Please join me to salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I'd like to take this time to have a moment of silence for the tragedy that occurred in Florida. Thank you. The first item on our agenda are proclamations. The first one we have is Black History Month. Will Councilmember Kadesh please read the proclamation?
Proclamation. Whereas Black History Month affords special opportunity to become more knowledgeable about Black heritage and to hone the many Black leaders who have contributed to the progress of our nation, whereas such knowledge can strengthen the insight of all our citizens regarding the issues of human rights, the great strides that have been made in the crusade to eliminate the barriers of equality for minority groups, and the continuing struggle against racial discrimination and poverty. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Vernon that February 2018 shall be proclaimed Black History Month in the Township of Vernon, and urge our residents to join together in making this period of rededication to the principles of justice and equality for all people, February 2018 as Black History Month. Signed by Harry J. Shortway, Mayor, and Gene Murphy, Council President.
Thank you. The next proclamation we have is for Special Olympics. Will Mayor Shortway please read that one?
Yes, thank you. Whereas the Special Olympics is founded on the belief that people with intellectual disabilities can, with proper instruction and encouragement, learn, enjoy, and benefit from participation in individual and team sports, adapted as necessary to meet the needs of those with special intellectual and physical limitations. And whereas Special Olympic events provide youngsters with individual challenges and the inner satisfaction of success and accomplishments. And whereas the Special Olympics have been competing in Vernon for, it's actually 4 decades, and genuine Jersey pride defines Special Olympics New Jersey, which celebrates the impact they have on all who participate, as well as those privileged to witness the magic every time an athlete with an intellectual disability takes to the slopes, reaches a goal, achieves a personal best time, or simply experiences the joy of participation. And whereas Special Olympics helps each youngster learn to play hard and compete to the fullest so as to achieve a success cycle and overcome the pattern of failure and frustration that often plagues mentally challenged youngsters who have not had the opportunity to play, practice, compete, and achieve. And whereas the Special Olympics helps each youngster develop self-respect, self-discipline, self-confidence, physical, social, emotional, mental fitness, positive values such as sportsmanship, responsibility to team, and respect for others, the will to succeed, and the ability to achieve their maximum potential. Now, therefore, the Council of the Township of Vernon do hereby proclaim February as Special Olympic Month in Vernon Township, and we thank the participants of the Special Olympics for choosing Vernon to hold their events. Given under my hand in these free United States and the Township of Vernon on this 15th day of February 2018, and to which I've caused the seal of the Township of Vernon to be affixed and have made this proclamation public. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have public comment. This public comment is for current agenda items only, and it's limited to 3 minutes per person. May I have a motion to open the floor to public comment?
Motion.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there anyone from the public that would like to make any comments to the council? Please step up.
Hi, Bonnie Rubin, Highland Lakes, and I just have a question for clarification about ordinance 1811, that we're going to revocate the revocation of the historic designation granted to the property. Could you explain which property this is? Could you clarify for me? Where is this located? Block 144-01?
That's the building on Route 515.
That's the BOE building?
The Board of Ed building on Route 515.
Okay, and my other question is, what was the historic designation? Why was this particular site designated for some historic?
You would have had to pull up the ordinance from then and go through all the minutes.
You have to look at the old ordinance to see that, or?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I mean-
You don't know why it's historically designated, or?
It was a local ordinance.
A local ordinance?
Yeah.
I understand that, but I was just wondering, what is the historic significance of this particular property?
I think it was the
Nobody knows
schoolhouse.
this, and you're
There's-
going to repeal this? I just...
Actually, the Historic Preservation Commission discussed it, so that would have been actually the proper time to go hear their discussion.
I think it was
Okay,
the schoolhouse.
well, all right, so nobody is aware of what this building was historically designated?
No, everybody's aware of it, but the point is, it would have been a different meeting to attend to get that.
Okay.
And you can get the minutes of that meeting if they're available. And actually, it'll be, we're sending it to the Land Use Board.
Land use?
But I don't have, we
I know
don't have
that,
the
yeah.
information here handy.
Okay, I was just curious, what is the historic,
I think it was the schoolhouse.
do you know, Sandy, or
I think it was the schoolhouse.
schoolhouse?
Yeah.
Original schoolhouse?
Original schoolhouse up until 1950-something, I believe.
So the purpose of designated this for historic was that it was the first schoolhouse or something in Vernon or whatever like that?
That's the way I understand it.
It was built in 1904. It was the first centralized schoolhouse in which the township, the county rather, was redistributing how the schools were to be organized. And it operated until 1956 or 7, I think.
Okay.
It also was the town's first town hall. Before that, they met in the Grange Hall, which no longer exists.
So it was a pretty significant piece of property at one time, at least,
Do you have any
right?
other comments?
Yeah. Okay, so, all right, I just wanted to know that. I wanted to know what we were, repealing that for and replacing it with, so. All right, well, thank you. Thank you for that.
Is there anyone else from the public?
Good evening, Doreen Edwards, Highland Lakes. I just want to make one comment before I start. Gene Murphy, you're very rude, and that's not polite the way you talk to the public. Any other comments? This is where you were supposed to
This
find
is
the
the
information.
public comment section. If you'd
I'm
like to make a
commenting
comment.
on your behavior
and we-
is how what I'm commenting
And we
on.
actually, what we did
Number
is
one.
we extended answering, and you know what? That will not
You know,
happen again.
if you are voting
you
on
have a
something,
comment,
then
please
the
make your
public
comment.
expects you to know what you're voting on. So I think you were a little rude to her.
Items on the agenda.
Yes, and the item on the agenda is about that building on Route 515, the old Board of Ed building. And yes, it's a point of civic pride. And yes, it's located, has served our town the longest as an official Vernon Township landmark, built in 1904. The first time, then, the 20th century, it was the first school board. Then it was a municipal building for a while, if I'm not mistaken. And it was designed by Thomas D.K., who was a local architect in the area. One of the first descendants of Vernon's, first settled in the 1720s. I just feel very upset that we would like to tear that focal point down. I think it has a lot of meaning to many people in this town. What is character? Character is things that affect you in the past, your upbringing, things that you remember. This is a significant monument to Vernon's history, and I think it would be a shame to tear it down. But unfortunately, I think no matter what I say tonight, it wouldn't matter. So, but please know that once the public, the general public, finds out, then I think there's going to be a lot of people very, very upset about it. So please consider not doing that. The benefit for a tax benefit for the people is not really there. It's a one-time benefit. It's not a lot of money. And I just think it's a shame that you consider doing that. But please, Ms. Murphy, please, in the future, have more decency to the public.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else that would like to address the council?
Seeing no one else, may I have a motion to close to public?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next, we have the minutes. May I have a motion to adopt the following minutes? So the meeting from January 1st, 2018 reorganization, the regular meeting minutes of January 8th of 2018, executive session minutes of January 8th, 2018, and the regular meeting minutes of January 22nd, 2018.
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Green?
Yes.
Councilmember Kadesh?
Yes?
Councilmember Van Tassel?
Yes.
Councilmember Allberger?
Yes.
Council President Murphy?
Yes.
Motion carries to approve the minutes.
Next, we have the consent agenda. May I have a motion to adopt resolutions 1877 through 1889?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second?
Roll call?
Councilmember Owens?
Yes.
Councilmember Kadesh?
Yes?
Councilmember Van Tassel?
Yes.
Councilmember Allberger?
Yes.
Council President Murphy?
Yes. Next, we have the introduction, first reading of proposed ordinances. Ordinance 1810, an ordinance to repeal and replace the Code of Township of Vernon, Chapter 130, Abandoned Properties, Unfit Buildings. This establishes standards for property maintenance in Vernon. May I have a motion to introduce Ordinance 1810 with a public hearing to be held on March 12, 2018? May I have a motion?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call?
No.
Councilmember Kadesh?
No?
Councilmember Van Tassel?
Yes.
Councilmember Allberger?
Yes.
Council President Murphy?
Yes.
Motion carries to introduce ordinance 1810 with a public hearing to be held on March 12th.
Next, we have ordinance 1811, an ordinance to refer the revocation of the historic designation granted to the property known as Block 14401, Lot 7, formerly Block 144, Lot 3, and the amendment of the master plan to the Vernon Township Land Use Board. The ordinance refers to the historic designation to the Land Use Board. May I have a motion to introduce ordinance 1811 with a public hearing to be held on March 26th? Is there anyone that would like to make a motion on ordinance 1811?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Owens?
No.
Councilmember Kadesh?
No?
Councilmember Van Tassel?
Yes.
Councilmember Allberger?
Yes.
Council President Murphy?
Yes.
Motion carries to introduce ordinance 1811 with a public hearing held on March 26th.
Next, we have the public hearing, second reading of ordinances, ordinance 1807, a bond ordinance making a supplemental appropriation of $210,000 for the acquisition of a new fire truck, herefore authorized to be undertaken by the Township of Vernon in the County of Sussex, New Jersey, and authorizing the issue of $200,000 bonds or notes of the township for financing such supplemental appropriation. This bond ordinance is to supplement the previous bond ordinance for the purchase of a fire truck. These additional funds are to include additional equipment for the fire truck. May I have a motion to open to the public hearing for ordinance 1807?
Motion.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there anyone that would like to step up to comment on this ordinance? Seeing no one from the public, may I have a motion to adopt ordinance, oh, I guess I have to close it.
You got to close it.
Yeah. May I have a motion to close to the public?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 1807?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Owens?
Yes.
Councilmember Kadesh?
Yes?
Councilmember Van Tassel?
Yes.
Councilmember Allberger?
Abstain.
Council President Murphy?
Yes.
Carries to adopt ordinance 1807.
Next, we have ordinance 1808, calendar year 2018 ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank, NJSA 48:4-45.14. The state has set a cap or limit in the amount of spending the municipality may make on items in order to keep municipal taxes low. The cap bank or reserve allows that if a municipality does not spend all of its limit in the given year as allowed by law, it may bank or reserve that amount for future years up to 2 years. May I have a motion to open to the public for ordinance 1808?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there anyone from the public that would like to step up to address ordinance 1808? Seeing no one, may I have a motion to close to the public?
Motion.
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 1808?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Holmes?
Yes.
Councilmember Kadesh?
Yes.
Member Van Tassel?
Yes.
Councilmember Wahlberger?
Yes.
Council President Murphy?
Yes. Next, we have public comment on any topic, limited to 3 minutes per person. May I have a motion to open to the public?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there anyone from the public that would like to step up and make a comment?
Hi. First, I'd like to take a second to introduce myself, since I know not very many, if anybody here, knows me. My name is Jennifer Lubliner. I just moved to Vernon about 6 months ago from Bergen County, and I've decided, raise my family here. It's a great area, and I've decided to get more involved with the community. So to start off, the comments that I wanted to make were in regards to the meeting start time. I know that this has been addressed at every meeting since it's been changed, both by Councilmember Ohms as well as public comments, so I hate to be redundant, but I think it needs to be discussed. At the last meeting, Councilmember Ohms brought forward a motion to change it back to 7:30, which Council President Murphy decided wasn't on the agenda, so it shouldn't be voted on. And I've had the opportunity to review about 20 past meeting recordings that have taken place over the last year and a half, and there have been about four motions in the last 8 months that have not been on the agenda and were brought forward due to public comments and voted on by the council because a council member made a motion. So it was my understanding that any council member can make a motion at any time during any public meeting, and it would be voted on whether or not it was on the agenda. So I was curious to find out why this motion was ignored last meeting and then not added to the agenda for this meeting. Now, personally, the time doesn't affect me. I'll still be here at 7. So it was more so about how the motion works and why it wasn't acknowledged.
And actually, I'll answer that to you. First of all, when you did review the meetings, which I have not, it could be that if there was something on as a discussion item, even though that item was not on the agenda, if it was a discussion item, you can in fact then make a motion.
I actually reviewed the agenda.
Okay, but I'm answering your question. So, and then, but going January 1st from now, that's really how it should be. If it's not on the agenda, we do not want the public to say that we actually voted on something that was not on the agenda and we were not being transparent. So
That was part of the reorg.
well, it's not.
decision?
It's really just trying to follow the rules.
Okay, so that there's a record
keep
of
it
what motions
consistent.
you vote on?
Because if we were to vote on something that was not on the agenda, then we would be accused of not being transparent and voting on something that wasn't on the agenda, and we didn't notify the public.
That's very understandable, and I can see that that would be a transparency issue. So then my follow-up question to that would be, what is the official process to submit an item for discussion on the agenda?
A council member could just either contact the clerk or contact myself
Okay.
and ask for an item to be on the agenda for discussion, which never happened, so.
So would that be on the agenda the
I am
next-
I just wanted to say, I think.
Excuse me, but actually,
Oh, sorry.
that's, I don't want to have a council discussion over this. I was
Okay.
just
I want to
answering.
make a comment,
Okay,
and I
but
can
then
make
you-
a comment.
and
And my comment is, I think we can discuss, a council member can discuss anything at any time, whether it's on the agenda or not. Do I have to walk to the podium?
No,
And talk about
but you
something
wanted
that's not an agenda
Okay,
item or
so
agenda
is there
item, so I
anything
can
else
speak?
that you'd like?
Yes, there is
Excuse me.
actually one other thing
Go
that I
ahead.
wanted to bring up, and that was something that I've, more of an observation that I've noticed in watching the last year or so of council meetings, is that I've noticed in the last 6 or 7, there seems to be a pretty stark difference in the amount of silence from council members. And I know that we have 2 brand-new council members, so I'm sure you guys are still trying to find your groove and figure out how everything works. So I just wanted to encourage you to really use your public commenting time that you get at the end of each meeting to tell us what you're doing up there, what you're championing, what you're trying to do to make the town better. And I know I read both of your biographies from your campaign, so I know you guys have both done great, fantastic things for the town. And I'm excited to see what you do in the coming years. As an example of what I mean, if you look at the reorg recording, you can see Councilmember Kadesh went through a whole list of his issues that he wanted to have addressed this year at the end of his meetings. And I'm curious to see how many of those issues have been addressed or what's coming up on the next agenda. So I think in terms of transparency and in terms of public confidence, it's really important for you guys to not be so silent at the end of every meeting and to tell us why you deserve to sit up there. Because I know it's not an easy job. So that was just my observation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jennifer, would you spell your last name?
Sorry?
Would you spell your last name?
Lubliner, L-U-B as in boy, L-I-N-E-R. And I'll be here every meeting, so no worries.
Thank you.
And welcome to Vernon.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yes.
Ken Clark, Chief of the McAfee Fire Department. I'd just like to say thank you for your support in our ongoing effort to replace our ladder truck, and to let you know that we have all put our new air packs into service. We are OSHA compliant at this time, and we appreciate your support. We're moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank all of you for the job you do. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to step up and make a comment? Seeing no one, may I have a motion to close to public?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next, we have the mayor's report.
Congressman Gottheimer met with the public last Saturday morning in the Senior Center. The Congressman discussed redevelopment and infrastructure issues. Why Vernon redevelopment? And I want to take this from the wastewater end of it. Current EDU cost is $1,180. The connection fee is $4,665 per EDU. SCUMA's connection fee is $6,068. Mountain Creek did not make their 31st January payment of $448,481. The SCUMA bond payment for 2018 is approximately $700,000. This amount increases annually to $1 million by 2022. In 2023, it jumps to $1,525,000 and remains constant for several years. The shortfall for 2018 is forecasted at $592,276,000. If no EDUs are added, the shortfall will increase to $1,432,970 by 2025. Mountain Creek's deficit payment is estimated at $902,771. Mountain Creek was obligated to rebuild pump house number 2 by 2007. This was extended to July 1st, 2013 by the 2012 interlocal agreement entered to by the former administration and Mr. Andrew Mulvihill. This $1.5 million obligation has not been fulfilled to date. Currently, approximately 2,005 gallons per day of wastewater flows to the SCUMA treatment plant. Vernon and previous agreements guaranteed 465,000 gallons per day. We are paying for 260,000 gallons per day that we do not use. The Sussex County Municipal Authorities, SCUMA, issued capital appreciation and current interest bonds, and the township also issued bonds to fund the construction of a wastewater treatment plant and purchased the United Water wastewater system, which was intended to facilitate significant real estate development in the area. Improvements were made and the system was purchased, but the real estate development did not occur. The bonds issued by SCUMA total approximately $29 million with principal and interest. Vernon's bonds to purchase and begin operating the system are over $7 million. The expansion of the sewer system has led to unsustainable debt that will financially crush the current users. The SCUMA bonds are backloaded, payments increase annually in anticipation of development. Former administrations and professionals predicted development. SCUMA relied on these forecasts and overbuilt the wastewater treatment plant. Part of those costs are related to the requirement that wastewater be treated and then transported and recharged back to the source aquifer. This has cost the Vernon taxpayers millions of dollars. Prior to Resolution 12-155, the sewer funding agreement, Mountain Creek was responsible for the SCUMA bonds debt service. Now the debt service payments are split 63-27% between the township and Mountain Creek. Mountain Creek has not replaced the Sand Hill pump station, as I earlier stated. A letter of credit, approximately $1.9 million, was established to be should Mountain Creek not fulfill their financial obligation. The LLC will only cover approximately 2 years of the deficit payment. We continue to analyze the challenges to bring public water to the town center in the most economically feasible manner possible. The water issue is a stumbling block also for new development. It is now a race to secure development to increase EDUs before the 2023 bond obligation increases. My administration, in concert with this governing body, has authorized a non-condemnation area in need of redevelopment study for lots located in the town center. The Land Use Board had its first hearing last night. In redevelopment and rehabilitation areas, the redevelopment entity, Vernon, the governing body, may offer financial incentives to attract developers and investments. The township may offer long-term 20-year tax abatements and exemptions in redevelopment areas. Municipalities have substantial control and authority over the terms of any tax abatement, which set forth the requirements for payments to be made in lieu of taxes, or commonly known as pilots. Additional benefits include power to lease or sell public property improvements without public bidding, enter into redevelopment agreements with one or more developers and negotiate development terms, timeframes, construction schedules, and more. They can receive available grants and loans. In redevelopment areas, developers can acquire redevelopment area bonds, known as RABs, and economic redevelopment grant programs, ERGs, financing incentives. I do not favor these because it puts more taxpayer money at risk. We are under a deadline. Development is required to generate EDUs, tax revenue, and jobs. New small businesses, though, continue to operate and open their doors. We're up to, I've actually lost track, I think 15 or 16 in 2 years. Tomorrow, a ribbon cutting ceremony is scheduled at 10 a.m. at Rainbow Reflections on 94 in the McAfee Shopping Center there. In other notes, Judge Brennan, Superior Court of New Jersey, has made a judgment regarding Legends. In order, tenants at Legends are to leave by April 9th. Warrants of removal will be issued should tenants not leave. Adler and Steinhardt and other defendants will conduct a census of who's in the building. Relocation assistance will be offered and paid in the amount of $1,500 to each unit by the defendants. Defendants will initiate all repairs and address all violations cited by the New Jersey DCA and fire code violations within 10 days after they vacate the units. Additionally, for several weeks, Congressman Gottheimer's staff has initiated and led the discussion to bring bus transportation from Vernon to Manhattan and back. Today, Mr. Briggs and I, Mr. Briggs is on Mr. Gottheimer's staff, and I discussed this with Coach USA. In the near future, we will present a survey to the public to ascertain their interest in such a service. The survey link will be available on the township's web and Facebook pages. And again, what occurred yesterday at Florida High School is becoming all too common. There are no words to describe the horror and grief. Several of the Vernon Township Board of Ed door monitors are retired police officers or a sheriff's officer, who by state law may carry a firearm. They are highly trained. The Board of Ed's policy is they do not carry. I respectfully request that this council pass a resolution, if they so agree, at the next council meeting, requesting the Board of Ed reconsider their policy forbidding retired police officers who are qualified from carrying firearms in the performance of the Board of Ed employment duties. This is the only way to stop a monster with a firearm is that a good guy has a firearm. In about 2000, when I was a police officer, we previously were trained to wait for reinforcements, to wait for the cavalry to get there. That changed. Now we enter the building and we confront the armed adversary. No matter what we see, we are to stop it, to apply deadly force as necessary, and to terminate the threat. Deadly force is necessary when a law enforcement officer uses with the purpose of causing or which the officer knows to create a substantial risk of causing death or seriously bodily injury. It is a necessary option to employ to prevent by threat or use to stop or lessen the loss of life caused by these demented individuals who kill our children. So I would like, by the next meeting, council, let's discuss this. It needs to be stopped. We cannot take the chance. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we move
So
on.
wait, I have some questions. So you're asking that you're going to bring a resolution to the council that we request the Board of Ed to think about this? I mean, isn't this their decision? I mean, us voting doesn't affect their policy, does it?
Shows you where you stand. Where does this council stand on this issue? It's all our kids. It's our schools.
But it's up to the Board of Ed to make
It
that
absolutely
ultimate
is.
decision.
It's absolutely their decision. But where does this council stand? I clearly stand where I stand. That these people that are qualified to carry, that by law can carry, they should be able to carry. Had that football coach yesterday that confronted the shooter been armed, maybe only 3 people would have got killed. He threw his body in front of those firearms, those bullets yesterday, and unfortunately he subsequently died. But I stood at that door, and if there was an armed confrontation coming through, and if I was armed, I had the ability to put an end to it. And that's what I'm asking, just the board to voice the council to voice their opinion.
So opinion whether to have an armed guard or not, or we're voicing our opinion for them to discuss this?
However you want to word it. I
Okay.
just want the council to get involved in this decision. It's about our town, and you are the governing body. We all have skin in this game. There are kids. We coach them. We teach them. We raise them. We see them. We support them. We can harden the targets, but they always get through. You don't want it like a prison. But when we have qualified people that can carry and put an end to this, at least they would be the first ones. Vernon's 68 square miles. Where is the help coming from? Warwick, New York, West Milford, they're 89 square miles. When we have qualified people that can stop it, allow them to do it. That's all I'm asking, is for you to voice your opinions.
Or there's some gun regulation.
Excuse
maybe
me,
this would not
excuse
be
me,
necessary at
excuse
all.
me,
No,
please.
nationally.
Was there anything else, Sandy?
That was just a question
Yeah.
for the mayor.
Thank you, by the way.
We'll move on to council comments. Councilmember Allberger, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I think between the mayor and the council, we need to do something about the format of the MUA and see what we can do to change it, because tonight is another prime example of the MUA not rescheduling their meeting so they can use this auditorium that has the recording equipment, where they have to spend money for recording equipment to be downstairs. Instead of just rescheduling it, it's just another, we're just wasting taxpayer money. I know it's small, but it all adds up. And we need to do something about it, because they're just doing whatever they want, and it's not helping the situation. And I have other things, but I'll let them go for now.
Sure. And just so you do know, when their schedule came out, Lauren Kirkman, our clerk, did notify them of our meeting and asked if they could possibly change their time, and they refused to.
I know.
So I'm just-
We asked
but I
as a
just
body
wanted-
to meet with them also, and they refused because they don't want to go before the public.
Okay,
So-
I just wanted to make sure that the public understood that,
Okay.
that it was noticed, and it did actually, the question went out, so, but we're not in charge of them. Councilmember Ohms?
Yes. Just a few comments. I agree with this young lady, Jennifer. Now we've stopped reading the resolution titles. Don't we normally read the resolution titles before we take a consent vote? So now we've stopped, we didn't do that today. So now we're not even reading the titles. So people that see this on television don't even know what these resolutions are about. So again, I feel we're getting less transparent by the day. So then now on to my next topic. The Board of Ed designation. You know, in my opinion, that this is going to set a precedence then. So now are we going to, when people want to remove these designations, we just are going to be removing them? So I have concerns about that. And then also concerns about this property, abandoned properties, that if we adhere to this ordinance the way it's written, it's going to end up costing us a lot of money if we start rehabbing these properties with no guarantee of what's in return. So I think enforcing this is going to be very difficult, and I see it as a lot of money. So that's my comment.
Councilmember Kadish?
First of all, the minutes for the HPC meeting that took quite a lot of time and energy to respond to what would be needed as a motion to the planning board took place. The minutes are available through the planning board. The motion has been approved by the HPC. And I believe in my opinion, 1811 is totally unnecessary. And it's an insult to anyone who served on historic commissions, including the one who designated it. It's an insult to the members that serve now, and I believe there are many people in this room, including the mayor, who are interested in history. Proves that designation is foolhardy because it's whimsical. It's totally unnecessary. The normal procedure is that the HPC gives their input, which we have done, and if there is a intent to demolish, that person applies for a permit to demolish, and within 45 days they have that permission. It's done even with the ordinance in place. And all the HPC requested to do is, if that were to be the case, that the designation remain. It is a historical site, it does have history, and the sign remain on the property. That's not much to ask, and I think the removal of this designation is a danger to any historical building that now exists in this town. I don't like the precedents. I don't think it is absolutely necessary. Shouldn't have been done.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you. Councilmember
No comment.
Fantasil. First of all, I would like to just address the fact of just reading the resolutions. All of our resolutions, our agenda is posted on the website, so if somebody is watching, they can certainly review our agenda on the website. The resolutions are posted there. Also, for the public, we have our agenda, so the resolutions are there. So reading the titles is not necessary in the resolutions. So it's not anything other than it's something that's not necessary. It's not keeping anything from the public. All of our information is available. As far as the designation on the building, it is a local ordinance. It's not an ordinance. It's not, this historic designation is not registered, this property is not registered with the state, as some of them are. Even Councilmember Kadish, who has indicated to me that there's probably only maybe one wall in that building that is the original building. The developer...
I think that was someone else.
No, that was you.
I thought it was John.
No. But needless to say, regardless of whether or not the council, even if the council objected to it, whether the land use board objected to it, whether the historic preservation objects to it, it's not an ordinance that needs to be adhered to. Anybody, the developer buying it, can certainly take the building down without any repercussions, and that was the way the ordinance was put into place back in 2009. The Board of Ed made sure that it went in that way because they wanted to make sure that they had control over that building. So that ordinance is available, and like I said, all of the minutes reflect that, and all of the, everything reflects that. Other than that, I have nothing else. I'd like to, now we're going to go into executive session. Would the township attorney please read the statement?
Yes. Whereas the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-6, permits the exclusion of the public in certain circumstances, and whereas this public body is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Vernon as follows. The public shall be excluded from discussion of and action upon the hereinafter specified subject matter. The general nature of the subject matter to be discussed is pending litigation, Stonehill versus the Township of Vernon. This resolution shall take effect immediately.
Let's make a motion.
Yes.
Motion to go into executive session?
Motion?
Is there a
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Never.
Good night.
Thank you, everybody.